You ever have that feeling, you know the one, that little fire inside you that wants to start something, build a business, create something of your own, but you're just stuck? Well, you're definitely not alone. And today we're going to break that feeling apart with some incredible wisdom from Chris Corner, a serial entrepreneur who's built, get this, over 80 successful businesses. Come on, be honest. I'm talking about that idea that pops into your head in the shower or on the drive to work, the one you keep telling yourself you'll get to someday. Feeling frozen is totally normal. But the real cost of doing nothing is that next year is going to look exactly like this one. So let's figure out how to finally get you moving. Okay, let's really dig into this because this is the core of Chris Corner's entire philosophy. It's not about having the most perfect, mind-blowing, unique idea on planet Earth. It's about momentum. The people who win are simply the ones who start putting one foot in front of the other, while everyone else is still thinking about it. So what is it that's really stopping you? Well, according to Chris, it's probably not a lack of money, and it's not a lack of ideas. It's a series of mental roadblocks that he calls the 3 walls. And here's the cool part. Once you can actually see them, you can start to tear them down. Here they are, the big 3. First, you've got the fear of what other people will think. Second, there's this failure to see the opportunities that are literally right in front of your face. And third, this mistaken belief that if someone else is already doing it, you've completely missed your shot. Now, this first wall, this is the big one. It's the most powerful. We're wired to care about what others think, and the thought of looking like a fool can be absolutely paralyzing. The only way through it, Chris says, is when you reach a point where staying where you are becomes more painful than the fear of failing. That's the moment the switch flips. Okay, wall number 2 is all about imagination. We see new tools, new trends, new technologies all the time, but we don't connect them to business opportunities. But think about it. The iPhone wasn't some bolt of lightning from nowhere. It was just connecting the dots between 2 existing things, a touchscreen and a phone. The secret is to build a habit of constantly asking yourself, how could I use this to make something? And this brings us to the final wall, the one that stops so many people. You have a great idea, you Google it, you see a competitor, and you just give up. You think business is like a single pie, and if someone else has a slice, there's less for you. But the reality? Competition is proof. It proves people are already paying for what you want to sell. That's not a roadblock. That's a green light. All right, so we've identified the walls. Now, let's talk about the single most powerful strategy for actually getting started and succeeding. And fair warning, it flies in the face of pretty much everything you've been told about needing to be original. Check this out. On one side, you have your totally original idea. It's high risk, the market is unproven, and let's be honest, it's mostly based on ego. You're starting from absolute zero. But on the other side, you have a proven model. It's low risk, the market is already validated, and it's based on data, not feelings. You get to start from what already works. And if you think this is some kind of cheat code, just look at the biggest companies in the world. Sam Walton literally built Walmart by living in his competitors' stores. Burger King saw the assembly line genius of McDonald's and just did that. And remember when Instagram suddenly had stories? Yeah, that was a direct copy of Snapchat's main feature. It works. This quote from Corner just says it all, doesn't it? You have to stop looking at competitors as your enemies. Start looking at them as your free research and development team. They spend all the time and all the money figuring out what people want. That is an awesome gift. Now you get to learn from their success. So let's get super practical. You've got an idea. Maybe it's inspired by a competitor, maybe not. How do you actually know if it's any good without quitting your job and betting the farm? Well, you run a tiny, cheap, low-stakes test. Here's the playbook, and it is so simple. First, create some basic mock-ups of your idea. You can even use AI to do this. Then post a few different versions online. Put a tiny bit of money, we're talking like $15 behind a few micro ads to see which one people actually click on. Based on that data, you make just one sample of the winner and then get it in front of a real person. And that right there is the magic number, $50. For less than the cost of a fancy dinner, you can get actual, real-world data on whether your big idea has a chance. This completely destroys the "I don't have enough money" excuse. Testing your ideas has never been cheaper. And here's the crucial lesson in all of this. You have to let the market decide. Your gut feeling, your intuition about what's going to be a hit, it can be wrong. My gut feeling can be wrong. But when you look at the data, which ad got the clicks? Which post got the comments? The numbers give you the cold, hard truth. Okay, so you've tested your idea, it's got some traction, things are looking good. Now what? Well, before you dive in head first, it is so important to understand what this journey actually looks like, because it is probably not what you're seeing on Instagram. This is such an important reality check. The myth is all about total freedom, a glamorous lifestyle, and getting rich quick. The reality? You trade one boss for hundreds of bosses called customers. Success is built on doing the same unsexy, repetitive tasks over and over again for years, not months. So, what's the takeaway here? Simple. Don't quit your day job, at least not at first. Use that job as your safety net while you test and prove your idea on the side. And you know what? Stay away from the shiny industries everyone's talking about. The real money is often in solving boring problems. Success comes from learning to love that daily, unglamorous grind. I absolutely love this analogy from Chris. Business isn't a single lottery ticket, it's like fishing in a huge ocean. Most people cast their line a few times, get nothing, and just go home. But the winners, they just keep testing. They try a different spot, they use different bait, they get creative. They understand that success is a game of persistence and trying again and again and again. And that brings us to the final and really the most important question. This isn't about creating the perfect 10-year business plan. It's about taking one small step. So forget the grand vision for just a second. What is one tiny, cheap, low-risk test you can run this week to get that idea out of your head and into the real world? Right now, that is the only question that matters.